Well, good evening. It's Wednesday. My name is Kyle, and this is Kerbal Space Program. Let's make sure I got everything lined up over there. I'm going to try and do something tonight that I have never done before. I am going to try to get a Kerbal, a living, alive, breathing, actual Kerbal, to Duna. I'm pretty intimidated. I've never even tried this before, let alone completed it. So this is going to be a learning experience for you, for me, for Jeb. What say we get started, huh? So I'm playing in creative mode because I do not have the patience, at least at this stage in my life, to walk through career mode all the way to the point that I could get to Duna, given that I don't even really know how to get there in creative mode yet. So if you came here looking for a career mode science gathering mission, unfortunately I'm going to disappoint you, so sorry about that. Let me know if my levels sound off at all, but from what I can tell, everything's lighting up pretty well. The game music is bumping. The last time I streamed Kerbal Space Program, I let's see if I can nail a few jokes here. My curiosity got the best of me, and I gained a little insight into finding the right path. I don't know what else is on Mars right now. Pathfinder, insight, curiosity. Discovery is not a thing on Mars, is it? Discovery was a shuttle. I know these things. Anyway, I knew a lot more about what was going on in the last game because that was all territory I had explored before, but I know very little about Duna. I know it's like Mars, so I know it has an atmosphere. I know it has, it's one orbit out from Kerbin, Earth, so it's going to be just a little bit bigger of an orbit, so not too difficult to adjust my orbit to get there. Because it has a very thin atmosphere, I'm going to strap some parachutes on this bad boy, and really that's as far as I've gotten so far, so bear with me here. I think taking one person seems like the smart thing. That seems like a thing that an intelligent scientist would do. Taking 3 people seems fun. It's what they would do in real life. They'd send more than one person to, they sent 3 people to the moon and 2 people landed. But it's also a lot more. I didn't even look up how much Delta V I need to get to Duna and back. So this is truly going to be winging it. I suppose I could look it up real quick on my phone here. Let's see. KSP Delta V Duna. Let's see. And this post is from 2015, so this might be out of date, but I'm going to take the first number I see here. There's a lot of words in this topic here. So, a bare minimum of 3,100 meters per second Delta V. And that's just one post I found. So let's go with that. And knowing that number, let's go to the big boy. Let's get 3 people up there. What do you say? Duna in 1. What do you think? Can I do it? Strap a, let's see. That's a drogue chute. Don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strap 3 drogue chutes and 3 standard chutes to the side of this thing that will be solely for use in Duna's orbit. I seem to remember that there is a button that you can push that makes a chute repack after it's been deployed if you land successfully. Oh, we gotta make sure that's not covered up. So it's possible I could reuse these things, but I don't want to bank on that, you know? I'm not banky. Ideally, they're coming back. I make no promises, but my goal is to see them come home. So I've got all these chutes on just because I'm going to use what atmosphere there is to slow myself down when I approach. Actually, these could go on these, because this thing's going to be what saves me on Kerbal. So these could all go on my second stage. So actually, I'll just cut it right there. This doesn't have a heat shield though, so let's start by doing that so I know, at least I know I've got that. That's important. Okay. I think anything else we can stand to blow off on our last as we re-enter. Okay, feeling all right. It's a bad sign when I'm saying feeling all right so convincingly before anything's happened. Boy howdy. Okay. So I'm gonna want, I think, a reaction wheel. And I'm gonna want a big old honkin' tank of RCS fuel, I think. Because I get the idea that that's going to be, those are engines. I get the idea that that's going to be pretty important. Although this is already looking huge. Like I have to land this thing. But it's we're gonna go for it. God, if I could do the thing where it separate, my can't make my eyes bigger than my, oh god, bigger than my stomach quite yet. That's a neat tank. I didn't know they did that. All right. Okay, so I've got RCS. I need a big old thing of liquid fuel. That's got oxidizer, okay. Oh, there's, oh, I'm sorry, there's skins now. Now we're talking. Oh, I did not realize they had put that in this game. Neat. All right, I need to strap on some mono thrusters. Those will be under command and control. And I think if I know how a stool sits on the ground with 3 legs, I think that also means that 3 thrusters is, that seems like more science than I care to do, though. Let's put 4. Yeah? What do you think? And then this has to be both. Oh boy. This one has to get me, this one has to land me on Duna, get me back up into orbit on Duna, and return me to Kerbal in 1 stage. So this needs to be a very efficient yet greater than, oh, I need to put my my mech jeb on, because there's no way I'm going to complete this without the help of mechanical Jebediah. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna need something real good. Something that's good in, mostly in vacuum, because most of this will be vacuum, and there's not a whole lot of atmosphere. So this one seems alright. Ooh, nope, too small. Bobcat, what's your... 310 ISP. 45 ISP, that's pretty good. It's a little smaller than I want it to be, actually. How? Ooh, 350 for the poodle. Now what's my... my thrust to weight ratio is too low, though. Well... Duna... Duna doesn't have as much gravity. But this still seems like I'm... if I strap on my landing gear, I'm gonna make it even worse, I think. Oh, 3. 3 for this. This one's 3. This is a stool. Needs to be a lot bigger, though. They do bigger? Oh, yeah, they do. Now we're talking. Okay. So my thrust to weight ratio is 0.9. That's on Kerbal. So I can say Duna. Oh, 3? Huh. I'm set. This is happening here, folks. Live tonight, you're going to see me land on Duna successfully. I'm already there. I'm practically already there. I've got some work yet to do. But it's okay. Alright. So that's my first stage. Let's pop those up. Deploy shield. No, I don't know what that means. Well, that's my final stage, I should say. So I want to strap on those chutes. So I'll put the drogues towards the top. Put 3 of those. And then we'll put the big boys just a little further down, and we'll do 4 of those. My thrust to weight ratio dropped a little bit, but not enough to matter. I'm feeling good about this. I'm just gonna have to start braking real early, I think, as I'm approaching. So let's make sure that that engine is well before those chutes. Because I'm gonna want to pop those and then separate that, and then that'll be on the way home. Okay, feeling good so far. Let's save it. We're gonna decouple. I probably am going to want something to generate power while I'm up there. Batteries are nice, but it'd be nicer to just have some big old solar panels that I can strap on the side of this thing. Not retractable once deployed. That means it'll rip off. Do they have any? Oh, deployable. So if I... That one doesn't look deployable to me. But hey, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all I need. What's this? That's pretty neat, actually. I like that a lot. I'm getting like 10,000 texts. Who texts anymore? Weirdos. Alright. And those can come back in. And it has passive radiators, which is good, I guess. I don't know that that's going to come up, but we'll see. Make sure I retract those before I enter Duna's atmosphere. Alright, so now I need a big, beefy yet efficient stage that will get me to Duna. Like, this will be my big burn in orbit of Kerbal, and also I'll need to use this to slow myself and adjust on my way over to Duna. So big, beefy, and then we need a very efficient engine. 290 ISP. Like, I want the highest ISP. Is the Poodle the highest? 350? For this size of thing. 345 is not bad, but it's no 350. Because I could just strap on some of these Terriers. Oh, actually, the Poodle's even better than that. So let's just do double Poodle, I guess. The fate of Jeb is to fly. You are correct. Alright. So this is my big beefy. I got a lot of Delta V. I'm already well over what they said I needed for a full round trip. But I unfortunately do not have enough thrust to get off the dang planet. So what I need is enough Delta V to get myself into orbit with engines that are strong enough to get me into orbit before I have to kick this thing on, because this is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So let's... I'm going to have to just do a whole nother stage down below, I think. This is just going to be a real tall boy. And we'll decouple. And then we're going to adapt. And we're going to go very big, very strong. Flight engines. Oh boy, maybe not even that big. Yeah, that's more what I'm thinking. And then it's got nice flat sides, which I'm going to utilize to strap on some big, heavy, solid boosters. Boy, should we do 3? Oh, that's not the right one. That's the one. We might have to do one test, and we'll revert, because I'm not going for... no. I'm gonna revert. So I want some really good ISP at sea level. 280 ISP at sea level is not bad. 285 is even better. This one's only got 1,300 kilonewtons. Although this one's actually... So mainsail's the way to go, I think. Oh, that's a little fella. Can I get a bigger boy? Well, that's almost too big. Also, it does not have nearly as good of ISP. Wait. Yeah, it's actually better. Alright, strap it on. That looks pretty good. Good thrust, too. And listen to me, viewers. I know a good thrust when I see one. These people will not stop texting. It's just a little boy. It's a real little boy. Maybe I need to actually just put on some of these. No, not quite that big. Some of these. I mean, has there ever even really been an advantage to using solid fuel instead of liquid fuel? Or is it just cheaper? I feel like that question's gonna come back to haunt me real fast. Yeah. What's this? No. dark. Not that small. There we go. Alright. So we've got those two little things there that are gonna... Actually, let's take it one step further and let's route some fuel from here into there. That way those things will burn off real quick. I'll get the thrust to just get me up into the 10,000 meter range. Spess! Alright, so these are gonna go. I want these to go at the same time as the big fellow, though. Then those will kick off. Then that'll separate. Fairly simple overall, actually, this design. I am gonna need a ladder. Well, probably one of those extendo ladders. Where is that? Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's even cooler. Boy, this game's got a lot of stuff, doesn't it? Oh, I do need lights. In case I foolishly wind up on the wrong side of Duna. And I like to have both kinds of light. And I like to change the color. This one's gonna be pink. This one's the spotlight is gonna be bright green. Alright, lights off. That's fine. What next? What am I missing? I got all that. It's gonna fire off in the right order. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't. Oh, there it is. That's the ladder that like sticks into the. Don't need any symmetry. I just need to put it right there. Not nearly long enough. So maybe I can go like, oh, that's gonna be in the way of the thing. Oh no, because it'll be retracted when I, right there. And then can I just cram another one into side of the tank? Perfect. I think that's fine. I will not test this. We're going to test by doing. This is on-the-job testing. Non-destructive testing. Non-destructive. All right. So I've got my RCS for my final stage. I've got my SAS. I've got solar panels to make sure I am always... Yeah, fuck OSHA. This isn't Smash Brothers. The one thing I thought about is if I should put a probe body on here just in case they all die, but the ship survives, so I can get it back in one piece. But I think at that point, the spirit of the mission has been sacrificed. Like they have died. Last thing I need then is just a big ol' honkin' one of these. Maybe 3. What do you think? Can I get to Duna and back with this? I've got a lot of Delta V. Got a lot of Delta V. Is it going to be enough to get me into orbit? I guess we'll find out right now. Because we're going. 24 minutes it took me to get going. That's okay, I think. Jeb, Bill, and Bob. Oh, I'm kind of covering them, aren't I? Let's just real quick. There we go. Now I'm part of the crew. That looks good. Yeah. All right. Ooh, that's a high up. All right. I don't need my reaction. Or I do need the SAS. I don't need the reaction control system. So let's just put it to full throttle and. It's a good-looking launch. That is a good-looking launch. Everything's all right. That fuel is really just burning up, though. I'm accelerating really fast, though, so I'll throttle it down a bit. That fuel is really cooking. Drop those sons of guns off. And let's hope this is enough to get me into orbit. I also didn't do anything with the positioning of Duna and Kerbal. My thought is that once I'm in orbit, I'll just let them. They've got space ice cream. They can just live up there until such a time that Duna is in a good spot relative to Kerbal, so that I can get there. What that is, what that looks like, I don't know. I do not know how to tell when that is happening. I'm also not really confident that this is actually going to be enough fuel to get me into orbit. This is a very heavy ship. Should have mech jab up. What am I doing? Orbit info, surface info. There we go. Alright, my Apo is about to break the atmosphere. There it is. So we're just gonna... Alright, my orbit speed's not bad. I can use what's in the tank now on my second stage to kind of propel me the rest of the way into orbit. This atmosphere is really messing me up, though, I tell you. So I want to chase my prograde. And I want to get that apoapsis time to about 40 seconds and hold it there if I can. I'm really slowing down. Those cameras are not stable in that craft. And also they don't have their helmets on. Ah, well. Just into the sky. That's all it'll take. And there we are. We're in space. I am very low on fuel. I may have to rely on this a little more than I had hoped. Got a lot of Delta V left. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. I wonder if that 3,100 meters per second was from Kerbal orbit to Duna orbit, not from surface to home. I guess we'll find out momentarily here. I am at my apoapsis, though, which is not great. I'm already... Yeah, this is not going to fly. I don't think I'm going to be able to circularize this with the thrust I have left in the tank. So we're going to just call that one a wash. I need a buttload more thrust. Buttload more Delta V. So let's get rid of these for now. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this whole assemblage, and instead of having it say 2, we're going to have it say 6. Good. That's fine. Right? I didn't see what my Delta V was before to compare, so we're just going to have to trust that it worked. Yeah? More thrusters. Make it bigger. Go faster. Oh, I can tell it where I want to launch from. Although I have no idea which one's best for this. So we're just... This one feels like the best because it's right on the old equator. We're going to put it to half throttle, and we're just going to go. Nope, full throttle. Full throttle it is. That's what I said. surely, the wiggle is there for stability. It's like a boat motor. Don't think about that too much. Yep, going too fast. Got a lot of juice in this melon. Alright, we're doing okay. Unrelated. Hopefully this gravity turn starts taking over here shortly. My Apo is going to break atmosphere here in a moment. And then once it's about 77, I'll cut thrusters for now. Okay. So we're going to point prograde. And then once I get closer to the edge of the atmosphere, we're going to try it again. Got a lot more fuel left in the tank. I got 1,000 meters per second. Which will not be enough to get me into orbit, but it'll get me a lot closer than it did last time. And if this doesn't do it, I might real quick pop into the old Googles and see if I can figure out exactly, more specifically at least, what the number I need to have in the tank is. Space Banana is a good nickname. Alright, here we go. A little boost there. My Apo is at a good spot. I'm feeling medium good about this. Lights should be on for this. Yeah, Christmas time. All right, we're at 1,500. We don't need a whole lot more to get into orbit. 2,100 about, 2,200. Yeah, it's a big old Christmas tree in space. Sure. Yeah. Sure. I planned that. So this stream, I mean, given that I have about 10 minutes of burn left in my tank right now, this stream is going to be a lot of this. A lot of sitting here with the engine turned on. And you just got to listen to me talk. So, let's talk. Let's talk about stuff. What do you want to talk about? I would like to talk about the White Elephant gift exchange I have at work tomorrow. I hope none of my coworkers are watching. Because, well, they did. they did make clear that the expectation is, if you want to participate, you can re-gift something. Does it count as a re-gift if I bought it? If I bought a thing long ago at the same time that I bought several of them for other people for gifts, and I bought one for myself thinking, that'd be neat, I want one for me too, and then I never opened it, ever, and now I put it in a package, and now I'm gifting it away. I think that counts as re-gifting, kinda. And I'm gonna roll with it. The item in question is a tiny, tiny crock pot. One that will hold basically 1 meal's worth of food. One person's 1 meal worth of food. And it has a little locking lid and a handle, and you can just carry it with you to wherever you're going and plug it in there, and by the time it's lunchtime, your food's all hot. So if you're at a place that doesn't have a microwave or an oven or whatever, you got a little crock pot, plug everything in. I think that's fair. Also, it's been just sitting on my dang shelf above my kitchen for 2 years now, at least. Good to get rid of that crap. I'm going for the it's already wrapped. The deed is done. I don't know why I'm phrasing it as something I'm just considering right now, but because it's going. My parry is about to break the surface of the planet, so I think I want to watch that happen. Because I do have a lot of juice left in the old tank. So I think I'm doing okay, at least for now. And there it is. Cool. And once that hits, once I circularize this thing, I won't be able to circularize it, but I'll get pretty dang close. Actually, what I need to do is point myself up a bit. And try and lift it as much as possible, because I am actually in atmosphere, aren't I? Oh, Uh-oh. Alright, as long as I don't bleed enough, because I'm not gonna really get low enough. God, this is not starting out great, folks. We're just gonna have to ride this out, because I'm gonna be bleeding. I'm gonna be bleeding speed here as I am traveling through just the upper reaches of the atmosphere. But I can pull a Project Beast and just shoot out right out the other side. Yeah, see, I'm hitting my parry. There we go. Periapsis has been hit. I'm making it out. I'm losing a little bit of apo, but that's fine. All we need to do is warp around to there and just circularize that a little bit. And actually, we can circularize the whole dang thing. Okay. So let's warp to that maneuver, huh? There we go. Could have gone badly, didn't go badly. At least yet. How's my, Oh, I don't need that, I need this. Oh, my battery's dead. Let's fix that real quick. Forgot to put those sons of guns out when I had the chance. Alright, that's enough juice. Alright, let's point at that maneuver. Okay. ICS off. That off. Let's do it. Maybe we can just cut this, actually. I'm just going to launch my periapsis and try and get it as circular as possible. Everything's better in space when you just eyeball it. And in space, no one can hear Jeb scream. Good enough. What do you say? Good? Alright. So now what we need to do is, now that we're in such a position that I'm in orbit, let's assess the situation re-Duna. Now, remember when I said, yeah, napkin math, right? That's all you need. But so earlier I mentioned that I don't actually know what a good Kerbal v Duna situation looks like. So I'm just gonna start cranking on this bad boy until it looks like I'm gonna touch that old planet. It would not appear that this is a situation in which I will be having, well, maybe step, boy, I'm on step 2 probably now at least. Maybe step 2 is get myself out of the old Kerbal system. So maybe I will have a maneuver right here. And actually, I want it to be like right, I guess there. So what is that going to do for me? That's going to put me on a big old ding-dong orbit. And I have enough fuel left in this tank to do that. But I kind of want to just line it up, don't I? Like, I want to hit it dead on. So yeah, what if I just started burning away right now? What does that look like? Run out of fuel there. Alright, so here's what's gonna happen is I'm going to just time warp a little bit. I get everything turned off. Yep. These guys have their space food. Let's just... I don't believe I played much of Terraria. I played it like in grad school, so I don't actually have a good touchstone for that. I guess here's the other problem, is I'm below 480 kilometers, so my time warp is actually real bad. Cannot turn it up to a point that it does really much of anything. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and lift my orbit up to about 500 kilometers. So I can time warp a little more effectively. This might be a slight waste of fuel, but overall it'll make my life easier, I think. So let's point prograde. I love that sound, don't you? Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and just kick that on for a while. And that's got us at 505. 508. Alright. And then let's warp there and do the same thing twice. Oh, they turn too. Even better. I put some really great solar panels on this son of a gun. Alright, let's do it one more time. Get that periapsis up to 500 and change. That'll do. Alright, turn everything off. Now let's warp until things change, cosmically speaking. Okay, I can't go faster than 10,000 times, but at least we can detect some motion here, huh? So... Oops. My thought is, I'm going real fast. Like, I'm definitely going faster than Duna, so I'm going to be catching up. The problem is just figuring out where that interaction is going to take place, you know? Howdy, how's it going? Alright. I've got an extra Kerbal in orbit there. The trick is really just figuring out at what point I'm going to encounter that big red dot. What if I flip that back a bit? Let's see how that works. The problem I have here is that it's hard to adjust exactly where in my current orbit this maneuver takes place when I'm zoomed so far out. I can like grab it and do one of these, but it doesn't give me a whole lot. Oh, I guess I can drag my mouse. Maybe not. So I can kind of fudge it a little bit. So I got nothing going on there. So let's try this. Let's kick it up a notch. No, that's not right. Kick it back a notch. That didn't do anything either. Good thinking. Let's start from scratch. Add maneuver. Let's get ourselves out of Kerbal's influence. And then when we're here, we can add another maneuver. And see if that does the trick. Doesn't seem to quite yet. But I don't know where Duna's really cooking. Let me think about this a little bit. Let's kill that one. Let's try. Oh, it's doing that thing where you can't place any dang maneuvers. Forgot about this thing. That's not Kerbal. Alright, cut this. Go back. Oh boy. Well, let's jump back out to the Space Center. UI sometimes gets a little squirrely. But that's okay. Duna in 1. Alright, can I... Yeah, okay. Where's the sun? There it is. And there's Duna, my target. Okay. Pretty much on the right plane here. Oh! Hold up. Closest approach is a mere 19 billion miles. That's all. Easy. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. That's a Duna encounter. Here's my thing. I don't know. How do these multiple maneuvers work? I guess I just delete each subsequent maneuver, huh? Yeah? Let's try it, I guess. Is everything off? Everything's off. Warp to next maneuver. Oop. Too much. Too fast. Okay. Turn everything on. Maneuver. We gotta go. Oh, look at me. I'm already facing that way. Let's go. I get the feeling this is going to go very well. Very well. Lights are on, right? Yeah. I got power. Lights don't... Oh, they turned off some... Oh, because my batteries died. There we are. I'm gonna breach the lunar orbit shortly here. Getting past the old Minmus orbit. There we go. And now all we're trying to do is get us close to Duna. Oops, overshot it by a little bit. That's alright. So I think then I can delete that one. Yeah, the other two are still there. So I don't think I can just warp to my next maneuver because they'll just yell at me. Oh, sure can. Electric charge is doing okay. It's not using any mono. Sure like these little rotating solar panels a lot. They're pretty great. I'm really catching up on Duna. Look at this. Look at me go. I also have a six-pack trade at work tomorrow, which I'm pretty excited about. I actually picked up a beer that I really want for myself, so I'm hoping I can get one of my own back. But, yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that, because there's usually a lot of good stuff there. Alright, cutting it. I stopped it an hour early. Okay, so let's make sure I'm pointed at my maneuver. Now look at my agile little ship. What was I worried about? This is perfect. This is the perfect Duna attack craft. Where is Duna? Well, we're thinking about this. I bet I can't see it. Oh yeah, that bad boy's way over there. Be over in that vicinity, I think. But anyway, I'm going to have a node here in just a moment. I need to burn for 40 seconds to spend 375 Delta V. This may be a permanent fixture on Duna, and I'm going to be okay with that. Because I am very nebulous about my goals in the game. Just in the game. And that's okay. And now is the time. Let's get ready to fire that maneuver out. We don't need the mono. I got almost limitless mono, frankly. Here we go. I'm really cooking though, let me tell you what. Great. Alright, let's get rid of that maneuver. And it looks like we've just got this last boy here to deal with. So we're just about at a year. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this was a very inefficient route to take to get to Duna. Because I think that it should only take 6 months. Okay. How long is the year? 400 days? Guess I'll find out momentarily. Yep. Nope. Who knows? Point 2 maneuver. This one's a quick little burn, so I'm actually going to monitor this from here because I want to cut it as soon as I see that encounter with Duna. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to encounter Duna, and I make no promises beyond that. Get impatient. All right, here we go. There's my encounter. I'm not getting an encounter. I was promised an encounter. Hold on, alright. I can bring him back together if I just do one of these. Burn the other way. There it is. There's my encounter. So I just... Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot to burn to change that. What happens if I go over here and burn a lot less? That's more. Burn a lot less. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, yeah. Still a lot of burn right there, what I'm doing. Can I go over here and do something? Alright, I think there's nothing for it. I'm just gonna have to waste some fuel. It's okay. Very tight window, I tell you. Short burn, but it's a lot of Delta V that I don't... I showed you my trajectory. Please respond. It's a good joke. I like that joke. Point ourselves at that maneuver. Alright. I'm ready. This time it's gonna work. Believe me. Okay, 22 seconds. Let's go. Just barely missed it, but I can fix it right here. Got it. That's an encounter. It's a very, very small encounter, and it's a freaking long time away. 1 year, 134 days. But, damn it, I did it. And I've got 2,000 meters per second Delta V left in the tank. That's all I have to say because I don't know how good that is. More waiting. But I am on the inside track. I'm catching up to Duna. I bet I can see it pretty soon. It's going to be over in that vicinity, probably. I'm probably going to have to burn a shitload of fuel to slow myself down enough to actually land on the damn thing, but I mentally, I'm in a place now, I've arrived at a location in my mind where this fuel is to get me onto the surface of the planet. And anything else beyond that is pure bonus. Because I do not have enough knowledge or skill to nail this in one. So if I set my expectations a little lower, like this, and I do end up nailing it somehow, I'm not going to do it, but boy, if I do, won't that feel good? Where's that sun? So that means Duna's got to be pretty close by, right? Should be able to see that bad boy. One would think. But then again, if one would think, one would know that this is a foolish idea in the first place. It's a little bit behind me. Ah, well. Let's warp to here. Where's my bright red child? Oh, there it is. Hey. I'm inclined a bit over this, isn't it? Aren't? Oh, yeah. Not in the same galactic plane as me. That's all right. Let's just slow ourselves the heck down. Guess that's the wrong thing to do. Oh, hello. Oh, that's going to take a lot of juice to really make this work, isn't it? I can be more efficient with it. But yeah, this is gonna be all I get to do with this craft, I think. Ah, rats, it's doing that thing again. Alright, we're gonna back out to the Space Center. But we are gonna do it. We're gonna make it work. If you notice, the name of the ship is not Duna in one and then back. Alright. As long as we're clear on that point. It's a very efficient engine, but I'm coming in a little hot. I tell you what, I'm coming in quite spicy, in fact. And now I am in the sphere of influence of this bad boy. Really, I can start burning at any time now, and this would be fine. So I'm just going to do that. Just gonna point myself retro. We're just Gonna do it. We're gonna pass Ike. We're gonna land right on Duna. And that's gonna be, that'll be all this ship gets to do. Maybe I can get it back into orbit at Duna. I don't know what that Delta V cost looks like. Maybe that'll be how we send these folks off, is by failing to get them into orbit of Duna. How's everybody's night going? Mine's going okay. Got all my presents wrapped tonight. That's really all I've done. But that was good. There were only 5. But that's fine. It still counts as an achievement, I think. Alright, we're dialing it in here. We're getting to a point where I think we're going to have a situation of, like, as I think about it, we're not even going to have enough to get off the ground. I'm not even sure we're going to have enough to get on the ground safely. Because I don't truly know how much those parachutes are going to do for me. Fairly circular orbit. Oops. That's not right at all. Let's see how much it takes it. Oh, that's pretty quick, actually. Alright. I also don't know how high the atmosphere... An Ike encounter, you say? Don't know how high the atmosphere of this planet extends, so... I mean, I'm really just kind of winging it here. It doesn't take much to make this happen, though, so let's at least do this. And I will, you know... I'll mess with it in such a way that I'm not going to hit Ike, I guess. Maybe. Ike is really cooking there. All right, let's just try it. Right past Ike and oh. One moment. Just gotta fix this real quick. My parry's a little low. Let's bring it back out. So about there. Shit! I keep pushing the wrong button. Whatever, no Ike encounter. We'll get down to there. Get down to the periapsis. I'm wasting so much fuel. This should be fine. I've got enough to do this, but only just. Alright, let's sit and watch as Duna just gets real close. I don't know which direction it is right now. Oh, there we go. We're gonna get there. They will be on Duna. However briefly, alive or not, there will be some proof that they are on. Look how happy they are. We're fine. Boy, I can't get over these really good solar panels that just twist whichever way they gotta. Smart design. Wow, I really did cut it pretty close with Ike there, though, didn't I? Don't need to worry about Ike. In fact, I don't need this maneuver at all. What I'm going to do now is just get my periapsis to a point where I think I'll be encountering the atmosphere, probably, which is like 50? Maybe less. Let's bring it down to 37. Alright, Jeb. These 5-star crewmen are gonna meet their fate. I think I must have misread that number that I saw online about how much Delta V you needed to get to Duna and back. Because it said 3,100, and I had a hell of a lot more than 3,100, and I spent pretty close to 2,000 just trying to get to the surface from stellar orbit. So I disagree with that number, but I must have misread it, because that's the only way I could be so wrong, or it could be so wrong, or maybe it's out of date. I don't know. That doesn't seem as likely though. My current altitude 200. All right, I'm gonna get here, and oh wow, that's close. Let's point retro, huh? How do I, boy? I guess I'll just find out when the atmosphere catches up to me. I think I'm gonna have to put these away, because I'm going to be hitting atmosphere here pretty soon. I don't want them to burn off. So I'm just going to fast forward this until it takes control away from me, because I've hit the atmosphere. Actually, maybe I should burn retro a little bit, just to slow myself down a bit. Oh, I got the turn. Oh yeah, that's a definite impact there. All right. Oh, I'm out of fuel. From what I know of those automated landers landing on Mars, you still need fuel to land on Mars. The parachutes are not enough. Let's hope the parachutes get me below 75 meters per second. I have a lot of fucking parachutes on this thing. So let's see if that helps. This will also be good to figure out when I hit atmosphere. Hey there, Ike. Okay, atmosphere starts at about 50. Got it. Good to... Oh, you need to be retracted, my friend. Safe to deploy? Risky. Risky. Okay. That's fine. Atmosphere is not slowing me down yet. Can I deploy these now? Still risky. There we go. Still risky. I suppose I want the atmosphere to slow me down a lot more before I can deploy those chutes. Unsafe. Unsafe. Very unsafe. Alright. Well, judging by my altitude is about 14 kilometers, and the fact that I'm still going about a kilometer a second, I think this is probably going to be where we say goodbye to these three fellas. Because I don't know what to do now. As soon as these turn orange, I'm gonna pop them. I'm gonna pop these chutes, and that's all I can do. Pretty much. 3 graves on Mars. Really not slowing down all that much. I'm gonna hit the surface of this planet like a bullet. All I did was shoot Mars. Come on, turn orange for me. Please just turn orange for me. Oh, for crying out loud, this is not good. This is like the last time I streamed. Come on. I'm using the fuel. There we go. That's it. Nope. Oh, Jesus Christ. The parachutes made it. Wait. Mech Jeb! No! Even Mech Jeb died. Well, I have some parachutes left on Mars. That will be the sign. That's how people will know I've been here. Just some spent parachutes. So what have we learned? I think the ship was too big. It brought too many people. The Delta V total that I think I needed was probably on the order of 50% too low. I definitely needed at least half again as much because I didn't even have enough to land. I did a very inefficient approach to Duna, though. But here we are, look. There's Ike. What a beautiful vista we've got here. Catastrophic failure. That's fine. That's fine. So I didn't do no checkpoints, no goals awarded, no medals. To console myself, I got about a half hour and change left. I'm going to go to the moon. We're going to land there. We're going to come home. And that's my moon lander. Who are we bringing? Valentina. There's no... Yeah, Valentina's fine. I was just hoping for another Jeb. Jeb Jr. Alright, Valentina. You're a 5-star pilot. You can do this. I think everything's still set, so we're just going to go for it. Let's get Valentina to the moon and back. That one I can do. That one I've done. With this ship. As a matter of fact. Here we go. I know what you're thinking. That looks really slow. It's fine. This is all carefully balanced. The thrust-to-weight ratio is over 1. This is all carefully calculated with math. Not on a napkin. Nope. Wasn't watching my Delta Vs. If you didn't watch my last stream, that's where I talked about asparagus staging, which is what this craft uses, because those outer fuel tanks split off like stalks of asparagus from the bunch. The moon is paper mache. It was written on a paper towel, not a napkin, is the answer to that question. So I peel off the spent fuel tanks once they're empty. It reduces my weight, increases my thrust to weight ratio, and slowly this craft becomes more and more efficient all the time. And this center tank is still completely full because I've just been draining these little extraneous fuel tanks on the side. So once I am able to get my apoapsis to a point that's about 70k, I can cut my engines, float my way up there. Those explosions are normal. I know I said that before, but this time they're actually planned for and normal. I didn't desire the explosions, but they happened and I was ready for it and it was fine. It's fine. Oh, getting a little eccentric on my orbit here. Getting quite squirrely. We're just going to go ahead and settle in right there. Now we're going to chase prograde. Oh, I'm going a little fast. So we're going to dial it back a ton. Because I don't need to be... Basically, all that heat there is me wasting fuel. I do not need to be converting those pieces of the atmosphere into heat. Also, I think I misangled myself here. We messed this one up. Let's just try it again. I took a drink. Didn't do that right. Gravity turn messed up. It's fine. We'll fix it. Right here. Okay. One of my favorite, I don't know if it's a bit of trivia, but it's a truth. It's a thing that exists about the launch pads for very, very large rockets, is that when that rocket launches, the ignition, the actual thrust that's coming out of the engine creates such a noise, such a shock wave, that if we don't do something to dampen it, the engines can actually shake themselves apart with that sound, that loud pop. Except it's a very drawn out pop. It happens over the course of a few seconds. But their idea to dampen that sound was to put these massive water tanks right there that are right next to the launch pad. And when the time comes to launch it, they've created these special valves that dump all this water, all these thousands, millions of gallons of water all at once, super quickly, into the area where that sound is created, and that water dampens all the sound, so the launch pad doesn't shake apart and the engines don't shake themselves apart. It's pretty wild. Like, rocket scientists are pretty smart people. God, I turned too fast. I turned too hard. I'm doing the old flippy do. We're gonna try this one more time. I'm so calibrated on that big, heavy, stinking hog of a vehicle that I just used to try and get to Duna that this lightweight, spry little number is too much for me. My old bones. But yeah, so they'd have these big tanks over here, big pipes, and they just dump all the water. I think the tanks are closer in that case, actually, because they need to be there to release all that water all at once. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to watch. If you can track down the video of that, it really looks kind of bonkers because it's an unbelievable amount of water in an incredibly short amount of time, and it's awesome. NASA does some really cool stuff, like going to the moon. Poop. Oh, and I just busted up my launch pad. Well, I guess this is it. This better be the one. Basically just dropping bombs back in the launch pad. I mean, all the fuel's gone, but they're still very heavy. Basically, I want to be high up enough in the atmosphere that when I start to do the gravity turn, the atmosphere doesn't drag on the heavy back end of my ship enough that it starts to get all squirrely and flip around in the air. But until my atmospheric density is low enough, I don't want to turn too much. So now that it's starting to thin out, I can start to angle over a bit and let the gravity turn do the work. And as I look at it, this one has a lot more delta V than even that Duna lander did. So this one might actually have had a better time landing on Duna than that monstrosity that I made did. And part of that is because it's a one-person capsule, so these engines are just much more efficient in terms of how much thrust they're able to put into the craft. Oh, my apple is too high. But that's okay. This one has way more fuel than it needs to get to the moon. There we go. Fast forward a bit until I can see my apoapsis about 40 seconds ahead of me. There we go. Let's point prograde. And let's do it. And as far as the ships that I have built have gone, this is a pretty efficient craft. I don't want to say it's efficient in terms of what crafts you can build in this game, because I am not nearly talented enough or smart enough to make that claim, but as far as the things that I've made have gone, this one's alright. So orbital speed is going to be at or around, at this height, it's going to be like 2,300. So we got another asparagus stage thing going on up here. So I'm just going to hold myself stable right there. Make a slight mess. So you can see on the top left there, the Delta V stats. Each of those stages, numbers 3, 4, and 5, represent the 3 asparagus stages of the extra fuel tanks I have on the side. You can see there's quite a bit of Delta V in each of those, and then my central fuel tank has a ton of Delta V, and that's the main thing I'm going to use to get home. So when I say I've got a lot of extra fuel, usually when I land, I have at least one pair. When I land on the moon, I have at least one pair of those extra fuel tanks left on the side of my craft. That's all you really need. No, that's not right. That's way more than you need. And that's okay. But I've got a very... this is like that poodle that I was using before. This one is a very efficient... This is the Terrier. Very efficient in the vacuum. Doesn't show the ISP in here, but... Oh yeah, it does. 345. Very good ISP. Which basically just tells me how good it is at turning fuel into thrust. How efficient it is. It's not the fastest burning thing. You know, as you can see, we're going to have another 10 and change minutes of me sitting here talking while these engines are burning. But it's going to use all that fuel very efficiently so that I don't have to basically bring up a lot of excess fuel just to make up for the fact that a lot of it's being burnt off in heat. Downside to this is there's no atmosphere on the moon. Any deceleration has to be done with this engine, and this engine does not have a lot of power, so I need to start decelerating very, very early to make that work. And more than once I have wound up in a situation where I am coming in a little too hot, much like we just saw on Duna, except I didn't even have the parachutes to help slow me down. So, you know, pray for Mojo here. There we go, that's an orbit. And once it's out of the atmosphere, that'll be a stable orbit. It is out of the atmosphere, so let's cut that. Where am I? Alright, so I'm going to create a maneuver right here. We're going to burn for just a little while to get my orbit matched up to the moon. And we're going to... Yeah, that's a very close intercept. Let's do it. So I've done this a number of times. So when I'm going to the moon, I actually look like I know what I'm doing. Whereas when I'm going to Duna, I'm just sort of throwing myself at the planet and hoping that that's enough. Oh, I need to stop this whole auto warp. Point myself towards my maneuver and start that burn post haste right now. And now all there is to do is wait for another 3 minutes. And I'm going to split off this first asparagus off my weird space cluster. There we go. So now it's more efficient because I don't have the weight of those fuel tanks on there. I've got a lot of fuel left. I will use up this second pair, getting to and then slowing down in the face of the moon. But I will have more than enough fuel to pull this off, I tell you what. So I'll burn up the majority of this next stage of tanks, but I'll have enough to sort of decelerate myself as I approach the moon, because I'm going to be coming in real hot. So I want to slow myself down in such a way that my entry onto the planet is nice and safe. Very technical. This motion here is very technical. I'm a scientist, I know these things. So something interesting that happened in my life recently is I was back at my grandmother's for Thanksgiving last month, and she and some of my family members had apparently gone through my room that I lived in as a child. So when I was a child, I lived with my grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother, and so she has all my things, all my belongings from when I was a kid. One bedroom full of that stuff. So they'd apparently gone through all that and binned it all, put it all into, and by binned I mean put it into large tote bins, not threw it away. They put it all into these large totes that I then brought home with my partner, and she got to go through these totes and see these journals I wrote when I was in elementary school, and all these old photos of me and things from the girlfriends I had in college or in high school and stuff like that. But the most interesting part was that these totes smelled like really strong, musty cat piss, and it was horrible. And the whole den down here smelled like that for a while when I opened those things. And I don't understand why that happened. Because my grandmother does not have cats, nor would she ever allow a cat in her house. So why did all my things smell like cat piss? I know how to get to the moon, but I can't explain that. Anyway, we're closing in on the end of my big maneuver here. What I'm hoping to see is a good, close encounter, so that essentially what I want to do is, as I am approaching the moon, I'm going to be going past it like so, and what I want to do is basically just a constant burn that will allow me to slow myself down and land on the surface in one juicy fell swoop. So let's get ready to cut these engines once that encounter looks right. Yeah, that looks right to me. Yeah, so I there is a term called a suicide burn, which I believe means that it's a burn such that you're coming in real hot to a stellar body, and you kick your engines on at such a time that it slows you down, and without changing anything, you just kiss the planet and land very softly. And the reason it's called a suicide burn, I think, this is something something I'm not clear on, is that if you wait any longer, you're done. You're toast. So you're basically like tempting fate, like when you got to kick that thing on to exactly kiss the surface of the stellar body. I'm not going to mess with that. I bet if I open up MechJeb, I'm going to see. I bet I could find something about what my suicide burn is. But there's a lot in here, and I haven't really gone through it all, so I'm just going to leave that aside. Alright, so my parry is pretty low, so I'm going to add a maneuver right there, and I'm going to slow myself the heck down. Circularize this a little bit, and then what I want to do is, maybe I won't even bother trying to explain it, because I actually don't know what the best course of action is here. My main goal is to get myself into an orbit with the moon, and we're going to leave it at that for now. If I can succeed at that mission, one step closer to landing on the surface. What's all this? Why am I being informed of this? I don't need to know this. Sometimes this UI is not great. Let's pop to the tracking station, pop back in here, huh? All right. So there's my maneuver. There's my stellar body. Let's just go ahead and start firing that, and I will keep an eye on how it looks from here. I'm getting pretty close to being able to cut this next set of fuel tanks too, which is exciting. That's a big moment. And it's coming up quick. plowing. There we go. Alright, so we'll pull that apoapsis in real good. I'm ready to cut the engines. Let's cut it right now. Call that fine. And head to the periapsis, because I do want to land on the light side of the moon. So actually I can go about here, slow myself. Oh, it's not going to take much, is it? Alright, let's call that a mission. So I'm going to slow myself down such that rather than continuing to orbit, I will just crash into the moon, and then I'm going to do everything in my power because I have 4,000 delta V. 4,000 meters per second of delta V. I can afford to be a little overzealous with how much I slow myself down, and I can still get home. So let's point at that maneuver. I don't have solar panels on this ship, you might notice, but this little block that's right here, it's actually it's the same thing that in The Martian, Mark Watney grabbed this thing off of the landing site. It's a little thermonuclear cell, thermoelectric generator that just creates power. It's got a little radioactive isotope in there that, as it decays, creates heat and also power. And that's what's powering my ship in these sweet-ass purple lights. Alright, so let's just cut that and let's just figure this out, huh? See where I want to land. I'm ready to cut this at any moment. And we're gonna land. Oh, I could land in the center of that crater. That'd be. I can't quite do the center. At least not without some extra work. So I'm cooking a fair amount. I'm doing 300, pushing 400 meters per second, but should be able to just point myself retrograde and essentially start firing right now. Actually, we're gonna dance with the devil a little bit here. Gonna bring myself down to about my true altitude's about 50 kilometers, I think, and then I'll start slowing myself the hell down. Alright, let's start. Stop. Okay. So essentially I'm just trying to arrest my forward momentum here, because if I continue on at this clip, I'm going to hit the surface of the moon real hard, and Valentina is not going to have a good time. Let's get that gear down too. So because my engine's not all that efficient, I need to do this while I'm still several kilometers up. Otherwise, it won't happen in time. So I'm just going to spend the next couple of minutes burning to bleed off all this extra speed, and then I will, like the lunar lander game we used to play on the computers in the computer lab in elementary school and middle school, gonna and tilt my engines and get myself right on the surface. Because I refuse to let this stream end without something successful happening. Alright, I'm starting to slow down a lot, so it's going to take a long time for me to get down, so I'm going to just feather this a little bit. Thanks for sticking with me, by the way. I know I failed pretty spectacularly at landing on Duna, so it's good to have the moral support of everybody watching to make me feel like I'm accomplishing something tonight. I don't play Kerbal all that often, so anything I can manage to do right feels pretty good. Alright, we're going to cut it for a while, and we're just going to let ourselves fall. What I don't want to do is time warp. Because I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. Normally when I play this game solo, it gets kind of boring at this moment because I'm just sitting here staring at this. But I've got all of you, so I can talk to you about stuff. What else should I talk about? We're fostering a cat right now who is 16 years old. And he came to us smelling of poop and pee and he had big old mats in his fur. He's a black cat. He's pretty small. I think at a healthy weight he'd probably be about 8 pounds. But he was, you know, probably 6 or less when we got him. And his fur was super matted, completely all knotted up and everything. And so we gave him a real good bath with some pet shampoo. We shaved all the mats off of his fur. And when he got here, all our resident cats kind of rejected him. And I think that part of that is because it seems like he came from a hoarder situation. He had tapeworms too. So we gave him some medication for that. And it seems like he was either in a house with 1 million cats or on a farm. He came from Texas. And it was a long drive, and he was in rough shape when he got here. He was all bones too, like no meat on his bones. So gave him the tapeworm medication, shaved off all the mats, gave him a nice bath. Now he's eating a lot more, and he's just the best. He's 16 years old, and you can tell he, like, at some point he's interacted with people, because he's definitely not feral in any way. He does not care about the other cats in any way. Like that's what makes me think it was kind of a hoarder situation, because he sees other cats and he's like, yep, that's how it goes. I like him. He's great. His name is Binks. So it looks like I'm coming down on a pretty neutral piece of terrain here, with the possible exception of if I come down directly on that ridge. One of my favorite bits from the Giant Bomb playthrough of Kerbal Space Program is when they land on the moon once. They land on the dark side of the moon, and they forget to turn their lights on. And they just land, and then they turn their lights on and notice that they are like mere inches from toppling over a massive cliff into like a huge... Oh, there's my shadow. That's what I need. I can measure myself against my shadow so I know exactly how high up I am. But yeah, they just happen to land right before on the precipice of falling into the void. It's Game of the Year season too. I've been thinking about making a list. I haven't played a ton of new games this year, but I think I've played enough. The obvious one for me is Into the Breach. I still haven't picked up Celeste, but everyone's talking about that one being amazing. So I might have to pick that one up and try it real quick before the end of the year. The other two that I really, really am sad that I don't have are Frostpunk and Battletech, because both of those games speak to me a lot. I am a big mech warrior, Battletech, battle mech kind of guy. Big mechs are awesome. That's what part of why I like Into the Breach so damn much, because aesthetically it's just great. And then Frostpunk is just dope. I like the whole concept of that game. So we're doing all right. We're coming in nice and slow. I'm going to bleed off a little more speed because I don't want to come in any higher than I think 5 meters per second. Oh, my shadow just disappeared. There we go. It was just upgrading to a better shadow. That's fine. And you can see I got Delta V left for days. But I want to come in at right around 5 meters per second. This is going to be a fair slope, so I'm going to have to use my stability thrusters a la The Martian to keep myself upright, I think. But that's okay. That's all right. And actually, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Because this is so steep, I'm actually going to go down the hill a little bit. Because I'm feeling cocky. I'm feeling pretty... feeling pretty good about my chances of landing this, so I'm going to get myself to a much more suitable location. And that looks a little more safe to land on. So there's a little bit of that lunar lander game I was telling you about. I can reposition myself to a more suitable location. One of those flat, thick lines that you get the points for landing on. Nope, not gonna be enough. Not nearly flat enough. So we'll just drift until it's fine. Little known fact about the moon landing, this is exactly how it went. They just sort of jumped. That's not true. I'm a liar. Just keep myself nice and level. Until I find something suitable. Alright, let's point retro. And let's burn off some of this speed, huh? There we are. Some nice shocks. Stabilize myself a little bit. Come on. Alright. This is getting silly. Oops. Don't want to do that. Alright, retrograde. Just gotta line it up just right. Now, can you stabilize yourself? There we go. Fine. Landing on a hill kind of sucks. Took a little tumble. It's fine. So the Kerbals in this game have like super jetpacks that are way stronger than any of the EVA suits that actual astronauts have, which is fine, but funny. So let's plant a flag here. And because this is Duna, I landed on Duna. Great. No fun allowed. Alright, let's get the hell off this planet. Because this is Duna. Pretty close to the galactic plane here, so actually what I can do is I can just take the hell off and go home. Good job, team. No fun on the moon. That's the law. That's international law. When Buzz Aldrin landed, he said, "God, this is boring." Neil Armstrong had fun, but it was because of him that they made that law. Far too much fun. Oh, I can cut my asparagus as well. Then once we get close to that apoapsis, we'll circularize that dang orbit. Point myself towards that maneuver. Let's go home. Let's get someone home from the celestial body to which they ventured. And as you can see, I've got 2,261 meters per second remaining of delta V. I'm doing okay this time. Truly, I think this ship would have been the right choice to go to Duna, because this one's got a lot of fuel. Lots of fuel in the old tank. So let's... Moon is vile. Look at all those pock marks. Things are living in there. Gross. Nice thing about the moon is there's no atmosphere, so as long as your periapsis is just high enough to not crash into a mountain, you're in orbit. You're in a stable orbit. That's one fun thing to do, is to see how low of an orbit you can get on the moon. Like, get it as close as possible, so you're just zipping right past mountains and other geological features. It looks great. It's a lot of fun. There, it's an orbit. See, look at that. Easy peasy. Cut that. And let's see if I can just crash into the dang planet directly, huh? Probably not, but this will be fine. All right. Let's point to that maneuver. Burn for a bit. I'm not even going to wait till the node, because I'm not really trying to be too precise right now. I'm just trying to get away from this moon. And there, I've done it. I've escaped the moon. Look how close I am to it. I love it. So let's warp to that point. See you later, you disgusting moon. Doing all right. See ya. And then I think my primary strategy here is just going to be warp forward a bit so I get truly captured by the Kerbal sphere of influence. There we go. Go to the periapsis and slow ourselves down. Slow ourselves down. That'll do. I'm going to try and do this one fairly properly. And by properly, what I mean is I'm going to get my speed as low as possible and then just kiss the atmosphere in such a way, because the cheater way to do it in Kerbal is to just throw yourself right at the planet and then just do one of them suicide burn style things where you just point at the planet, burn off as much speed as you can, and then use your parachute to do the rest. But I'm going to try and actually do like an atmospheric entry with this thing if I can. I might not have it in me to do it. It does take a little bit of thinking, and who wants to think? Let's get that periapsis down a little bit further, huh? Right there. 76. Perfect. Nailed it. And I do want to land on the light side of the planet. Landing on the dark side of Kerbal is kind of a bummer, generally speaking. So we're going to take care of that right now. We're going to point ourselves retrograde. We're going to turn those engines to full blast. And we're going to see if we can't land somewhere on the ground over here, huh? As long as I can get my periapsis to about 30 kilometers, I think that's the the sweet spot. Well, actually, if my apoapsis is only going to be about 76, maybe my periapsis can just be 45. Yeah, I'm just wasting fuel. I'm doing this in a very, very cheeky fashion here. I'm being safe. I'm going to get Valentina home safe, but I could have done this with a lot less fuel. So once this apoapsis number gets a little bit lower, we're going to feather it down a bit. And we've got a periapsis of... it's not responding to my commands. There we go. Great. 16. Right, we're coming a little hotter than I thought, so... Keyboard decided to not do what I wanted it to do there. I'm a little over time. I apologize. If you're waiting for me to be done or something. While we got a moment here, what I'll do is I will pull up the schedule for this stream. Because we got a few more things coming up this week. Someday I will bookmark this. A few more things this week, including, let's see, tomorrow, Andy's going to play Factorio, which I'm very excited about. That's going to be happening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Factorio seems dope, and it seems right up my alley. On Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the recurring series of James Tarr Stan's Killer 7. Killer 7 seems pretty dope. I'm assuming that's going to be the last stream. It looks like the end was coming up close, but there could be one more after that. Saturday, it's going to be another round of Damn It Feels Good to Be Yakuza, which is Yakuza 0 with Andy. That game also seems like something I need to pick up. And then on Sunday, normally Sunday is Dead by Sun Daylight, but Andy has been playing Last Year, which is going to be, which is similar in style, asymmetric, sort of a killer game, and he's going to try that out. So Last Year on Sunday will be happening. If you want to check out any of those streams, follow us on Twitter at FunDeniers, and we will tweet out links about that the day before and then 30 minutes prior to any stream. So what I'm going to do now is, because I messed up that approach a little bit, I'm actually just going to use what's left in my tank to bleed off as much speed as I can, and then I'm going to ditch this engine and try and come down safe. And if you missed my last Kerbal stream, you're going to see my patented way to safely get rid of an engine when you're done using it. Alright, so that's it. Let's cut the throttle, and here is how we do it. We just sort of fling that son of a gun up into space. It's gone. See you later. See you, Space Cowboy. And now I've got my thermal shield pointing towards the direction I'm going. There's where I just came from. That's pretty cool. There's my little engine drifting off into space. It is going to crash into the planet along with me, and all I have to hope is that I didn't accidentally put it on an intercept course with me. But it's getting pretty far out there, so I think I'm safe. So now there's nothing to do but wait, because the only thing that's going to stop my forward movement is the atmosphere. Which it's doing. You can see my periapsis is down to negative 260 kilometers. The real trick here is basically, normally what you would do is circularize your orbit and then just lower the periapsis to the point that the atmosphere will catch you and stop you from escaping again. I burned a little too much, so I'm coming in pretty hot. I slowed myself down as much as I could with that engine. I'm going sub 2,000, so generally I think that's pretty okay. The spin doesn't do anything effective. That was just me kind of showboating a bit. And then this capsule only has 1 chute as opposed to the 7 that I had on my Duna lander. But the capsule is very light. That 1 chute should be sufficient to safely land me, assuming that the ablator works and keeps me from exploding as I go through the upper atmosphere here. So the real trick here is that because the atmosphere is thin enough, the ship isn't going to heat up enough to cook Valentina alive or cause anything to explode, but it is thick enough that it's slowing my descent to the point that when I actually reach the thick part of the atmosphere, I'm going slow enough that it won't actually cook me. So the nice gradient of thin atmosphere to thick atmosphere is sort of like, it's not the same thing because water is kind of an incompressible thing, but it's like landing in water. You know, the water pressure at the top is the lowest, and then the further down you go, the water pressure gets higher. It's not really the same thing. It's not a good analogy, but the rub is that I'm going real slow now. So I'm not cooking alive in this pod. I'm just dropping nice and gentle. And once this thing turns, it's turning. Okay, so it's ready to deploy. I can pop that chute out, and what it's going to do is just add to the drag. Slow myself down enough that when I touch the ground, hopefully I'm not going fast enough to die. Yes, the Kerbal launched croc. And if you're into some duo streams, next week we're going to have our first duo stream. Andy and I are going to be playing Spy Party. I think that's on Thursday of next week, so that would be the 27th. I also have a Christmas Eve stream. I'm going to be playing Stellaris. I picked up the Megacorp expansion, so my plan is to have my Megacorp be Santa's workshop. And I'm going to play Stellaris for 3 hours on Christmas Eve, and I would love for anyone who's not busy Christmas Eve to come hang out with me. Tell your friends. Retweet it. I'm going to tweet about it a lot coming up here. But I'm pretty excited for that. I will probably join you for a Christmas stream. I would love to watch Dead by Daylight on Christmas. That'd be great, because I think my Christmas plan is to be just here in the house doing nothing. Was that my... something blew up, but... Oh, that was my heat shield. That'll happen. Anyway, Valentina is safely back on Kerbin. We got to the moon. We got back. I didn't get to Duna. Sorry about that. I wasn't super optimistic about my chances, but... You got the Santa Clown outfit? Alright. I'm there. I'll be there on Christmas. That sounds great. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Again, tomorrow's Factorio with Andy. Killer 7 on Friday. Yakuza 0 on Saturday. And then Last Year on Sunday. And then I will be playing some Stellaris on Monday on Christmas Eve. Dead by Daylight on Tuesday, which is Christmas. Follow us on Twitter. It'll be a lot easier to keep track of if you just watch our Twitter. Or follow us on Twitch. It'll just tell you when we go live. Anyway, thank you. I did get to Duna. That's true. Full stop. That's the end of the sentence. I got to Duna. Thank you for joining me. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Let's put me back on this thing. That button didn't work. There we go. Well, these buttons are fine. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time. Fly safe.